Event marketing. So, as those you'll know that followed me, in October this year, we did a big event with one of our clients, Partridge Lakes Fishery. Barbara Aitken, who runs that, is a very good friend of mine. And she asked me in the summer to come on board and help with this event. We've helped Partridge Lakes over the last 6, 7 years, but she knew this event was bigger than she'd done before. We'd worked with lots of companies locally. And rather than have just kind of provide the technology and the website and the graphic design and set up the social media, she wanted us to help a bit more, which in general for me was operational and technology side. She was ideas and creative, and I was technology, operations, that kind of thing. And by working together, we were a nice mix. So if you're coming here to listen to how we come up with the ideas and making the trail look beautiful and all these lights and all the kids having such a great time, you're not going to get any of that information because that's all Bar, and I don't understand how she does it. But to take the venue that we have and make that look amazing, that was all her. But the operational side and more boring stuff, as some people will call it, safety barriers, car parks, how many people you can get through the door, ticketing, credit cards, you name it, that side of things, operational staff, HR software was my side. So I'm going to talk through some of the stuff during this series of videos about what we did in order to help that event run smoothly from a technology point of view, operationally, and also from a sales and marketing point of view, is how we set up that event from start to finish. So first of all, when we come up with the event, we started with the design of the brand of the event. So we've got in-house graphic designers here who were able to create a logo and some imagery around the event so we could start to get a bit of a look and feel. Now, because this was a new event, we had no photography from an existing event because we'd never done it before. So we did stage a photo shoot in the summer, and then we also used AI and generative tools now with Photoshop and stuff like that in order to edit some of them images and edit other images to make them look like what we thought the event was going to be looking like. So just because you don't have the images so far doesn't mean you can't come up with something. So we created the logo, we created the brand, we created the look and feel, and we started to build the event on that basis. We also staged a photo shoot. Now, ironically, this photo shoot was in August and it was hot, and we knew the event was going to be in autumn, in October, and we thought it was going to be cold. We took some pictures and we took some great pictures, but one of the guys only had a t-shirt on that we didn't realize at the time, and we didn't change it to a jumper. Now, we then used AI tools to put the chap in a jumper, not a t-shirt. However, when it got to October, those of you with a memory of October in the UK this year, because we have fantastic weather, it was 24 degrees in the first weekend in October. So we made the joke that we really should have pulled out. It wasn't the first weekend, sorry, I think, first weekend of October. The 30th we opened of September, first weekend in October, this event, it was shorts and t-shirt weather, and we'd spent all this time editing t-shirts out of our imagery. So you never know when you're doing imagery for an event. We thought we knew what the imagery would be like in autumn, and we used AI and Photoshop AI and generative fill and these tools now to make some images. So a lot of the images we used at the start of the event weren't actually real images, which I thought was amazing. They looked great. They looked like what the event was going to be, and we were able to use these tools to help us market the event. So logo, some imagery, and then it's about getting that out there. We built a website, and on the website did our best to explain what the event was going to be. And in order to get bookings through the door, we needed a booking software, a booking system. Now, over the years, we've built these bespoke. We have used off-the-shelf systems. We've used all sorts of different ways. And this summer, we found a platform called TicketTailor. And in the past, I'd always shied away from platforms that charged a fixed fee for a ticket. So TicketTailor charges you per ticket you sell, plus your card fees. And you can use a number of card providers. We used both Stripe and Square during the event. There was an incident with Stripe where they withheld the funds, which I'll talk through later on in the series, because I think that is interesting, just so you're aware on cash flow situations of what can arise within an event, which could harm you. So we use TicketTailor. TicketTailor offer fees that's cheaper if you pre-buy tickets, and the more you buy, the cheaper it gets. So on the top end, you start to get to about 20-25p per ticket plus VAT. And on the early end, if you're only selling kind of 100 tickets, you might be 50p a ticket. So if you are selling for an event that has cheap tickets, say £1 or £2, it probably doesn't make sense to use a platform like TicketTailor. It might make sense to use another platform which charge a commission structure. If you go to other platforms that take commission, places like Eventbrite, when I've done in the past, about 8%, somewhere between 8 and 15% tends to be the go-to for commission. So if you're doing a cheaper event, it does make sense maybe to do a commission model. As a note, TicketTailor also offer a free pricing model. If you're selling free tickets, they don't charge for the tickets. So if you can do it in a free way and sell the tickets, you can use TicketTailor. But if you're charging for tickets that are like £1, £2, £3, £4, £5, it may make sense to go to a commission-based platform rather than a fixed fee platform. the higher the price of your ticket, the more the fixed fee platform will make sense. And obviously the higher volume of tickets you're selling, a fixed fee platform makes sense. In the past, I've drifted away from them. However, TicketTailor was fantastic. Support was fantastic. We had no blips during the event and we sold over 13,000 tickets. QR code systems, apps, brilliant, made us look incredibly professional, even though we didn't always feel it behind the scenes. So I couldn't commend TicketTailor more. There were some elements that I wish it could do and some elements that I think it could do better. But I know they're a UK team and they're working hard to make that app better all the time. So I'm really excited to use it again next year and see what's come on in the app. We have built other platforms over the time with people. And again, you might look at the cost of TicketTailor, especially over 10,000 tickets. For us, let's say 10,000 tickets at 25p a ticket, which is ish what we spent. It's a lot of money. You know, it soon adds up, £2,500. But our tickets were priced accordingly that we could recuperate that. If we'd have done a percentage-based model, halfway through the event, somebody said, oh, you should do this, and then you can get cash back off this. And we looked at it, and the cost of the booking fees and the ticket costs for us, on average with TicketTailor, we worked out the fees came to about, I think it was 1.5%, 2%, and the commission-based models at 8%, we would have lost 6%, or our customers would have paid 6% more at least by going down this other route. So I was really impressed. Cheaper overall for our customers, cheaper overall for us, provide a better experience. So look around for ticketing systems. Can't recommend TicketTailor enough, but do look, depending on what your event is, will depend what system works best. Eventbrite and other places are definitely still worth a look. We looked at C-Tickets as well. I found C-Tickets a bit more complicated to use. Probably if you're a bigger event, maybe they'll speak to you, but I couldn't get to speak to anyone at C-Tickets. Whereas TicketTailor, I could speak to somebody, which I thought was brilliant. So built a website. We've got the tickets up there. We've started selling. Now what? We need to market the event. We need to work out exactly what we do. And I'm going to talk through some of the steps that we did to market the event and which bits I thought were successful and which bits were weren't. So one thing we did, first of all, is bar from a previous agreement had some outdoor screen advertising, which is a big screen in Warrington. I wasn't the biggest fan of this. We put an advert up there. It's quite hard to see if it worked or not. I think with outdoor and outdoor media in general, the prices tend to be too high for what you get and can be quite poor, especially as a quick passing traffic. It really does depend on the event and how much, but I really would look at outdoor media and work out that you're getting the best thing. There sometimes can be some better deals to be done, i.e. approaching private owners for space for signage. They might be able to put up temporary signage that might do better than a paid screen. The only other thing that we quite like though is bus shelters. So if you can do something around bus shelters in the right areas, especially evening. So once the nights get darker like they are now, bus shelters that are illuminated tend to give you advertising on the drive home from work. So different times of year, outdoor advertising I think works better. Sometimes then big screens now during the daytime and during the summer, you just can't see them. Of an evening, you can. So it does depend on when you're running. And for me, when rush hour is dark, it's good to do some outdoor screenage that's lit. When rush hour is light, I would approach and do some more non-lit outdoor signs. So think about outdoor media first was something that we did. We ran a screen. Also what we did was we hired a PR and press officer who helped us with a PR launch, press launch, but also helped us get in publications. So his name was Bill Elms. He does a lot of events and I can't recommend Bill enough. He was fantastic, holding our hand through the event. He helped us invite media and press to the event and we got really good coverage across the Northwest. So PR, I would say, was a very important plan, strategy within our event advertising, and I definitely would recommend that. We leafleted the local area. Now, in reality, I think we leafleted 15,000 homes. Our area that we covered, so we're based in Warrington. Warrington has a population of 200,000 people. I think there's 60,000 homes in Warrington, something like that. So we covered a big part of Warrington, but our catchment was huge. If we then tried to leaflet every home, so I think we're going to do more targeted areas next year. I still would do leaflets. My big preference, we were using a leaflet company that was shoving leaflets that had like 4 or 5 leaflets through. My big preference is to do a high quality leaflet and do it individually leafleted, or a different size or shape leaflet that just catches people's eye. You've got to keep it cheap. But then I would target areas as well based on where you think people are going to come from, and areas we're going to look at last year's data next year and see where we can target. I would still do some leaflets if you can into homes. We also, with leaflets, which I think was a bigger success, is we went into local schools. We were a family event. So we hit 90 local schools within Warrington. Next year, we are going to hit, I'm starting to build the list already, 400 or 500 local schools. As a bit, we knew that people came from an hour catchment area. So within that hour catchment area, there was a lot bigger we could have gone to with the schools that we're going to do next year. That is we literally went as a team, got schools. We took into the schools leaflets, and we also took into the schools a free ticket that they could give away in any way that they choose. So they could use the PTA, they could give it to a family that they thought deserved it. We give a free family ticket to every school that we went into. Some of the bigger schools, we give a few more family tickets. Some of them made us pay to do that advertising, which in some cases we did. And if we had to pay, sometimes we didn't give the family ticket. There was a bit of a wheeling and dealing going on the doorsteps for the schools to work out which was the best way to go. But we wanted to support the schools if they were helping us. But also, we didn't have unlimited budget to give to schools, if I'm general. And most just let us do it for free, give them the free ticket. So we're very grateful for that. So schools for us with families was massive. I would advise trying to think a little bit outside the box of what you could do with events. And thank you to the persons that's given us some of these hints and tips on the way. The other big thing that we did was influencers and social. So we gave away quite a lot of tickets to people with social followings on usually Instagram or TikTok. So we made a huge list from massive celebrities to just small accounts. And even for us, because we invited pets, we had lots of dog accounts, like people have accounts on Instagram, pictures of their dogs. I don't necessarily worry about the following massively. My general rule of thumb was, if we're asking them, it's okay. If they're asking us, we generally said no. Was the bottom line of it. I know that might sound mental. So if they're asking us, I generally found them to be the type of account that's just doing all this stuff all the time. When we were asking them, we tended to find accounts that weren't always just doing promotional stuff. And all we did for them accounts is offer them a free ticket. Many paid for additional tickets on top of the free tickets that we give them, but we invited them out throughout the event. So we did a big chunk at the start, and then we invited some people throughout the event to keep the coverage up. But for us, that was probably the biggest strategy we did. Don't have a final number of how many people came through the door, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was maybe 600-700 came through the door as influencers or free tickets. And that gave us a huge swathe of promotion. We also gave away lots of free tickets to all the good causes in the local area. They weren't for promotional reasons, but I certainly wouldn't forget about them, especially on your quieter slots. We did do that for local causes. I'm not going to necessarily name all the causes that we did because some of them were a bit more sensitive. But you can imagine the type of local causes. I can give you one example. There's huge Ukrainian hubs in Warrington, so we're delighted to give away hundreds of tickets to Ukrainian families to come and enjoy the lights. That was one example of something that we're really proud of doing. But don't just necessarily think of these, giving away these things just as influencers. Think about what other community things you could do that will help in the promotion of your event, but also that are nice things to give back to the community. So giving away tickets. And that's all. We didn't give away food necessarily or anything else. I thought we were going to have to pay people to come, food, and it was none of that. Free ticket, which doesn't really cost us anything, especially as we picked quieter nights. We didn't give the key tickets away. And the weekends were busier, and we had, invites on weekdays and on the launch nights. So for us, that was dead effective. Free tickets is something certainly we're going to roll out again next year. We'll look at who we worked with, who worked well. In reality, we don't know who necessarily was worthwhile inviting because it's quite hard to say, but the overall impact of all the coverage that we got was well worth it. Certainly, the press was a big element of that still that I thought wouldn't have had the effect that it did. But locally for us, things like the Manchester Evening News and the Local Echo still get huge audiences online, and we're very thankful for them sharing the event as many times as they did through Bill. And that did definitely get us numbers there, which to me would fall probably under more traditional marketing efforts. So lots of different ways you can market an event. Think outside the box, try different things. We tried some stuff this year that I wouldn't do again next year. We're going to try more stuff next year that I didn't do this year. Certainly the schools for me was a big win, and definitely lots to think about in terms of marketing your event. The other thing is don't give up halfway through. We did lots at the start, and then you're like, oh, we're done now. And then really a week in, we kind of went, oh no, we still need to keep going. And we did keep going. And I think we could have made a little bit more of a better plan to kind of keep going throughout the event. The other thing we always mention is building up a database. So we built up a database of emails before the event. In the launch, we built up a bigger database throughout the event, and then we'll be able to use that next year. We also, what we call AA road signage. So we put some signage up for directional signage, but whenever you put directional signage up to help people navigate to the event, it also helps you in promotion of the event. So that's something to think about as well. Signage, we talked about outdoor media. Do definitely think about signage and what signage you can get up in the local area to get eyeballs on your event. Okay, operationally. So we employed nearly 100 staff. There were lots of things I wish I could have done better, but I certainly learned throughout the event and learned for future years, and also learned before the event of things that I wanted to do. One of the biggest things that we did was ensure that very early on. Now, my only shift in this is they filled in a paper form. Next year, I'm going to get them to fill this in electronically, but they filled in the normal form that we would get for any new member of staff, and they were automatically put into our HR system and rota. We built a rota system ready for the event. With the rota system, one of the key things that we did is that we invited staff to apply for their shifts rather than us telling people when they were going to work. For me, logistically, trying to sort 25 people a night for 27 nights was going to be an absolute nightmare. So that we asked people to shifts, and we had bulks of groups. We had over 18s, we had under 18s. Deep down in the back end, we also had good workers, bad workers, and we asked different people at different times a week to work, and then kind of you used the best workers first, and then if all the shifts went, you didn't need any more, that'd be fine, and then we split it up as we went. So we used a rota tool to get staff to apply for the shifts. At the start, we didn't do that. We were doing it kind of manually, and we had cases where people weren't turning up. We were asking them to come, and then they didn't come, or they didn't respond. So we used a rota tool. Bright HR we actually used. It wasn't brilliant, to be honest. I think I'm going to pick a different one next year. But we used a piece of software to make our life easier. And it also meant that all the hours were tracked as they went through the event. We were able to log start and end times, which meant paying people at the end of the event and running them through payroll was a lot easier because all that was all tracked, rather than having to have, a complex system that we went back through and sorted. It did save time by having things in the system beforehand. We also, between the staff, each evening we created a WhatsApp group for each night. So lots of discussions of how we're going to communicate. We've got 25 different staff working every night. So we create a WhatsApp group for each individual night. Each night we put the rota and the shift and what you were doing and what your start time was and what your end time was. And we use that WhatsApp to communicate amongst the staff. We did have radios on site as well, but the WhatsApp became a really good and easy, quick, efficient way to communicate between staff. We were covering an area of 70 acres. So every evening we made that WhatsApp group. It was a bit, you can imagine I've had to save all those numbers in my phone. There's 100 people. Once we got into the swing of things, though, it made things a lot easier. Having these WhatsApp groups and meaning it was easy to communicate between big groups of staff on every night. So WhatsApp works. It's free. Why not use it? So yes, I ended up with about 40 groups, but we shut down the groups. I controlled who could message and when, and just made sure they weren't getting spammed to death. And yeah, they worked really efficiently on the night. So use technology to make your life easier. The WhatsApp group certainly on the evenings was a good addition to the technology for the team. Post-event promotion for us has become a key thing. So for me, talking about the success of the event, what we did, will help me already. I've got other work with people offering me to do other events, and we also were looking at doing this event next year and making it bigger and better. So work opportunities have come on the back of talking about the event rather than just being quiet and kind of walking off into the background. We've talked about the event, we've released press releases, and hopefully with the customers, we've produced a brilliant experience that means they're going to come back next year. So it's certainly something that we thought about throughout the event, always thinking about the marketing for next year as well as the marketing for now.